Connecticut's #1 local news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Good morning, everyone. Right now at 7 o'clock, we are in early warning weather alert.
The concern today is going to be the rain that will turn into freezing rain and ice on the roads. There's the potential for some really tough conditions, but not just driving. Walking to your car or mailbox could really be challenging.
Scott says underfoot and under tire. Many schools have already made the call to close or delay. You can find that at the bottom of your screen or on the Channel 3 app.
First, we want to start things off with Scot Haney for a check of the temperatures because, Scott, once they drop below freezing, that's when things are going to get dicey, right?
That's absolutely right, Nicole and Wendell. Hi, everybody. Good morning. 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that. We're taking a look at our Doppler, and we're getting a little bit of good news in parts of southwest Connecticut where we've got a little lull in the action, which is good news. Maybe we can carry this lull right through the late morning. That would be beneficial. But in the meantime, northern Connecticut, we're dealing with some ice. Salisbury, we're getting reports of some ice up there. Canaan, keep those emails coming in, weather3@wfsb.com. I'd love to hear about your conditions that are up there. Norfolk, Canaan, Heartland, Barkhamsted, New Hartford, good morning to you. We are also dealing with some moderate to heavy rain in other parts of the state. Northeast Connecticut, we're talking about Union, Woodstock, Putnam, Brooklyn. Good morning, right down 395. We're talking about some of that rain. And also down in southeast Connecticut, down into Middlesex County, moderate to heavy rain coming down there right along Route 9. Chester, Deep River, Essex, Old Lyme, Durham. You're even seeing some yellows popping up there. Let's zoom on in here. Higginham Road, we've got Bunker Hill Road, Pool Road. You're getting some of that moderate to heavy rain as well. So we're keeping you posted. Was that a sneeze? All right, it's a cough. Frosting, run. All right, in the meantime, temperatures out there are going to be dropping through the day today. You'll notice the numbers there in the low to mid 20s by about 10 o'clock this morning. So you got to give us a couple of hours, like 4 to 5 hours before we start to see this sleet start moving into Connecticut. Hopefully the moisture field will start to wind down a little bit by then, but that's going to be a bit unfortunate by late this morning through the early afternoon. All right, there's a winter weather advisory in effect for today. That is in effect until 7 o'clock this evening, as the moisture field will be around until then. And the Misery Loves Company map, yeah, we take you all the way down. We're starting to see a little break in the action, though. That's good news. Texas, if you're wondering where that light blue is, it's a wind chill advisory. They're dealing with power outages, freezing conditions, and wind chill advisories all the way up into Oklahoma, parts of Kansas. And then you move into the Dakotas. They've got trouble up there in terms of the wind and the chill. It is really cold up there. As a matter of fact, it's 18 degrees in Syracuse, 17 degrees in Albany. I'm pretty sure those numbers are accurate. I'll get to those in just a second. But in the meantime, you'll notice in the Northeast, everything is kind of pink. That's a winter storm warning that's in effect for portions of upstate New York, for Vermont, New Hampshire, for Maine. So not a good scenario as we continue further north. If you have travel plans up there, you're going to be running into snow, not rain. So for us, we're wet and foggy with reduced visibility, wet and foggy with reduced visibility. And then, as you can see from the satellite and radar, we're trying to get that colder air in here. It is taking its sweet time. So by late morning, early afternoon, that's when that colder air is going to start to be rolling in. And we're calling for an overnight low tonight of 12 degrees. 12 degrees. That's just wild. All right, so there's snow coming down in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. They're picking up a good amount of snow. We had an inch to an inch and a half of liquid here. Now, an inch to an inch and a half of liquid for snow translates into about 10 to 12 inches of snow for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So the ski resorts up there are rejoicing. They're getting more snow, more snow, more snow. So, but as you can see, this cold front is bearing down on us. All right, there it is. There are those temperatures that I was talking about. 13 in Albany, 17 in Binghamton, 18 in Syracuse. Really tough weather up there. The good news is the moisture field is starting to turn off for those folks. But Brainerd, when I came in this morning, we were in the mid to upper 40s. Now it's 36. New York City, you were at 54. You're still incredibly balmy at 52. East Hampton on Long Island, 50. Nantucket, 50 degrees on February 4th, 50 degrees on February 4th, 56 in Philadelphia, but you'll notice Scranton and Harrisburg dropping back now into the upper 20s and lower 30s as that cold air starts to make a run at Connecticut. So here's early warning futurecast, tomorrow's weather today. This is a little premature. The icing, as you can see, this was at 7 o'clock this morning, but by about noontime, we should start to see some sleet, some freezing rain, and then everything starts to shut down by late this morning, late this afternoon through early this evening. So you're going to just have to budget in a bunch of extra travel time if you're going to be out there on the roads late this afternoon through this evening. And that's why so many of the schools have closed, because by the time the kids get on that bus to come home, it's going to be a little icy and a little dicey. So rather to play it safe than sorry. Now tomorrow, this is Futurecast tomorrow, under partly cloudy skies by 3 a.m. And then we're going to be under mostly sunny skies through the day tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow, but it is going to be cold and it's going to be a bit breezy, and that breeze is going to make the temperatures feel even colder. We're talking about daytime highs tomorrow only in the low 20s, maybe some mid 20s for the shoreline. All right, so here are your headlines. It's foggy and it's mild to start in parts of the state, although we are getting that colder air. In parts of northwest Connecticut, it's starting to filter in. Temperatures drop today. They're going to drop today. And then freezing rain and sleet is a possibility by late morning into the early afternoon. So this is old. I do apologize. Hartford, good morning to you. We're taking a look at 36 degrees with a wind out of the north at 8. You've got some mist, some rain coming down. The roads are all wet. But at least it's still above the freezing mark there. 41 in Waterbury. We've been watching that number come down. It's just dark and gloomy there in Waterbury, even though the sun has been up for about 4 minutes now. And we're taking a look at 34 in Litchfield, 44 in Storrs. Now that number was at 50 just about an hour ago. 34 in East Hartford and 51 amazing degrees in Willimantic. And those rainfall totals are since midnight. They do not take into account the rain that we had overnight from yesterday into the overnight hours. So just remember, you might have picked up an inch to an inch and a half of rain. Here are the current temperatures. All right, Salisbury now 30. 32 in Torrington, 35 at Bradley, so those numbers are coming down, 36 in Hartford, 37 in Meriden, and then it's 52 amazing degrees in Chester. That's just really remarkable. 49 in Groton, so you can see that the numbers are up in southeast Connecticut. They are down in northwest Connecticut as those temperatures continue to drop. All right, and our wind speeds, they're out of the north in parts of northern Connecticut, and then they're out of the south in parts of southern Connecticut. So we're still getting that mild air coming in off the Long Island Sound for southeast Connecticut, but we're getting that colder air coming in from the north, from upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire and Massachusetts. That's in northern Connecticut. You'll see the arrows pointing from north to south at Bradley and Brainerd and Meriden and Waterbury. So the cold air is kind of pushing into Connecticut. It's trying to scour out that warmer air. And as you can see from the satellite radar, there's a lot of rain down to the south. That's not going to be making it into Connecticut because the cold front is going to be pushing that out to sea. So that's some good news. So daytime highs today, topping out in the mid to upper 30s. So that's pretty much where we are right now, with the exception of southeast Connecticut. And the numbers continue to drop, so they'll continue to drop. 7 days ahead, 24 tomorrow, 31 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, tranquil weather, but cold weather. The normal daytime high for this time of year is 36, so we're going to be significantly below that tomorrow. 31 on Sunday, and look at the overnight low Saturday night into Sunday, 7 lonely degrees. And then the numbers start moderating for Thursday with a high of 41 degrees. All right, that's just a long check of your weather. It's 7:09 right now. We're going to send it on over to Caitlin Francis, who's got a check of those roads. Kate, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Scott. I mean, at least once we get through today and tomorrow, it sounds like tomorrow is going to be very, very cold. So
very cold, and there will still be some icy spots tomorrow morning.
I was going to say, refreeze is going to be a major concern. So if you have plans to head out tomorrow morning, or anytime tomorrow, really, again, all the advice that we've been giving you today is going to just be a rinse and repeat tomorrow. Please, please, please make sure that you're taking it slow out there. We have some safe driving tips for that rain, sleet, ice. That's all posted up on the Channel 3 app, but it does include making sure that you have a very safe driving distance between yourself and other vehicles, really reducing your speeds out there, never pumping your brakes or slamming on your brakes, decelerating at a safe speed, because you don't want to just like let up off the gas and then slam on your brakes, those kinds of things, and then making sure that you're really steering gently. Those kinds of things are all really good safe practices, especially in this kind of weather. Safe practices all the time, but when you're dealing with slick, slippery conditions, and we have been throughout the morning, even though it's for the majority of the state right now is still wet and not slick or slippery with ice just yet, we're still seeing accidents pop up. So just be very careful as you're heading out the door here. In East Hartford, we're dealing with a crash route 2 westbound between exits 5D and 5A, so the left lane there is blocked off. We're dealing with an incident. Now, police on scene, you can see here, state police have the HOV lane blocked off, 91 northbound in Windsor. This is right around exit 34. It's between exits 36 and 35. So make sure that as you're heading through that area, maybe you're heading toward the airport or towards Massachusetts, again, you can see all that liquid on the lens. Move over safely and slowly, because state police need to be able to do their jobs safely as well. All right, so here's a look outside. I'll take a step to the other side here so that you can see what's happening. This is 95 northbound in Stratford. This is right between exits 36 and 35, or 32 and 35, I should say. You can see we still are dealing with this 2-vehicle crash from earlier, but thankfully we've seen a little bit of improvement. We were seeing a lot of backup between these exits because of that 2-vehicle crash. So at least we've got traffic moving through this area a little bit better, but Scott was just mentioning visibility down. That rain is still pouring in a good chunk of the state, so make sure you've got your windshield wipers working, your headlights are working, and if you have time, make sure that you've got some windshield wiper fluid in your car and that is full and ready to go, because it does make a huge difference to have a clean windshield, especially when you're dealing with sleet, icy conditions. Now, unfortunately, we have not been able to see DOT crews, DPW crews, or those private contractors which have been out and about working very, very hard throughout the duration of this winter season to kind of fill in the gaps to make sure that those roads have been treated. Because it's been raining so hard the last 24 hours, the roads have not been able to be pre-treated. So that's been a really big issue that we're going to be able to see probably within several hours. So make sure, again, as you're heading out the door here, that you're really taking it slow. All right, we'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a few minutes, but for now, I'm Caitlin Francis with your Connecticut Chevy Pinpoint Traffic Report, driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Caitlin, thank you. So we're going to give you another perspective on the road conditions because they are wet. They're saturated right now. It's just been raining pretty much all morning, all night.
Yeah, overnight, on and off all morning. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Audrey Russo is live now from Weather Tracker 2 with a closer look at what you can expect right now if you're heading out. Where are you now, Audrey?
Nicole, Wendell, right now I'm on I-84 eastbound, headed through West Hartford. And just to catch you guys up on basically what we've been talking about this morning, if you're just joining us, we've been out driving on the roads in Connecticut for about 144 miles. That's pretty much up and down Route 8 around I-84. And as Wendell mentioned, the roads are pretty much just covered in water, saturated in water. And we haven't seen any freezing conditions quite yet, in this last stretch that we've been driving. Right now, the road temperature, according to Weather Tracker 2, is 39 degrees, and the air temperature is 35 degrees. So we are starting to see a little bit of a decrease, because around 4 o'clock this morning, it was closer to like 48 degrees outside, the very mild temperature. So we're now starting to see it sort of back down and get a little bit closer to freezing. I'll spin it around so you guys can see outside just what we're seeing. People are pretty much taking it slow. I heard Caitlin mention some accidents during our broadcast on the air a little bit earlier this morning. So it does go to show that there are some incidents, and it doesn't have to be icy conditions for it to be dangerous outside. Right now, the visibility, it's not great. It's not ideal. I've seen worse, but still it's something that you want to keep an eye on, and you want to make sure that you are trying to keep a safe distance and that you're trying to travel a safe speed. We're seeing some drivers out here a little bit maybe taking things a bit fast, but for the most part, the biggest issue with visibility right now is that mist that's coming up from your tractor trailers, your 18-wheelers, and even in some cases the car ahead of you. So that's another important reason as to why you want to leave that distance. And because it has been raining for so long on and off over these last 24 hours and then pretty consistently throughout the morning, we're starting to see a lot more puddling on the roadway. Let's see if we can turn it to our side camera view, just see if you can see some of those puddles. It's not just sticking to the side of the roadway at this point now. If there are divots in the road, if there are bits of pavement where it's uneven, we're starting to see those collect with water. And in addition to the hydroplaning risk right now, later on down the road, as the temperatures continue to get towards that freezing point, that could turn into patches of ice, and obviously that's a lot more dangerous. During the winter season, I spoke to a plow driver who said he'd rather drive through 2 feet of snow than on an inch of ice, just because of how difficult it is to stop, and one sliding incident can turn into a bigger accident and messier conditions on the roadway. So those freezing conditions are really what we're concerned about. But right now, even before the freezing temperatures set in, we are still dealing with some reduced visibility, with a lot of water collecting on the roadway, and with a lot of conditions that you just want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on, and you're budgeting extra time, as Caitlin said, budgeting extra distance from the car in front of you, and just in general taking it slow, because that really is the name of the game on a morning like this. This is New England. People are used to wet roadways. They're used to snow, but it's always good to have that reminder of safe driving tips and things that you want to keep in mind just to make sure you get to your destination on time. Pretty much that's what we're seeing right now, though, just wet roadways. So I'll give another condition check in about a half hour, but for now, if you have to head out, you just want to make sure that you are avoiding some of those pooled water spots on the roadway, and you want to make sure that you're budgeting a lot of extra time. But for right now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio. I'm live in Tracker 2. Audrey Russo for Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, thanks, Audrey. That is the name of the game. We just want you to be safe. We're hardy New Englanders, right? All right, so Eversource says they're preparing for any possible power outages. Right now, 705 customers are without power, and the majority of these customers are in Stamford, Guilford, and Coventry. Now, in a statement, Eversource said that they are closely monitoring the forecast, and they've added crews in place, and they are ready to go in case the weather becomes bad or if there are a significant amount of outages. So we'll keep you posted on those outages as well throughout the morning. And as we're about to deal with the ice and the snow from that storm system that Scott's been monitoring all week long, we are taking a look at the mess it has left behind as far away as the Rockies.
Perhaps you have friends and family in other areas. The winter weather has made those roads very slick and dangerous. It's also causing widespread power outages. At one point, more than 300,000 homes and businesses were without electricity last night.
Channel 3's Bradley Blackburn is in New York now with the very latest.
A massive winter storm is inching its way across the U.S.
This is generally just going to make for a horrible morning commute.
At its height, the system stretched from Texas to Maine, prompting weather alerts and warnings along a roughly 2,300-mile corridor. As temperatures fell, ice became a primary concern. Indiana deployed its National Guard to assist stranded drivers.
The snow right now is pretty powdery. Sometimes temperatures will rise a little bit, it'll melt, and then it'll drop and it'll turn into ice. That's where I think we're really concerned. The ice is the real killer out here.
Hundreds of crashes were reported in several states. A 16-car pileup left 6 people injured near Memphis.
Everyone's going about 10 miles per hour on the side roads, and it is slick.
The weather is wreaking havoc on air travel as well. Megan White and her husband were lucky to get out of Louisville.
We're going to Cancun. I don't care what's happening. We're going to end up going to Cancun. Definitely. We need this vacation.
On Thursday, more than 5,000 flights were canceled. More are expected today as the storm moves over the Northeast. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
I would be going to Cancun too, particularly since we live in New England, right? Now, back to a look at what's happening here in Connecticut. So take a live look over Hartford from our iCam. Looks kind of blue, but it's not as cold, but those cold temperatures, well, the cold air and the lower temperatures are certainly coming.
All right, now up in Litchfield County, let's check our iCam in Torrington. A little bit of fog there blanketing. You know, we're still dealing with some mild temperatures in the state, but Scott actually did say it was 32 degrees in Torrington. So things are starting to drop in some areas. Please, please, please. This is where you have to really be cautious out there when it's hovering just above freezing.
Exactly, particularly because the roads are so wet. Let's take you to New Haven County now. Now, this is the scene in New Haven and Waterbury. Again, some layers of fog there, and you see people on the roads, but the roads are wet and the temperatures will fall later today.
Looking live now over Middlesex County. On the left is Middletown. There's your view of Route 9 and the Connecticut River. On the right is Old Saybrook, looking right across the Sound there and right where the river really meets the Sound. So just take it easy. Ooh, look at this. This is nice and clear, Wendell.
I know, in New London, you know, looking a little wet there. So we're going to take a little break right now, and we'll be back right after our network cut.